Hi, I'm Amelia and I'm 6 years old. Hi, I'm Zosha and I'm 9 years old.
Hi everyone, this is Mommy.
What's up, everyone? I'm Daddy.
And you're listening to
It's Movie Night.
And this week we watched Now and Then.
New Line Cinema released this coming-of-age film in 1995. It's rated PG-13 and has a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes. Some other movie night picks the studio released around this time were Angus and The Adventures of Pinocchio.
This movie is about 4 women who reunite after many years when one of them reminds the group of a pact they made as children. Now together, they reminisce about the summer they made the pact and how it started molding them into the women they are today.
Some familiar faces and voices. Young Roberta is played by Christina Ricci. Our girls recognized her immediately as Wednesday Addams in the Addams Family 1 and 2 live-action films, which were the only things until recently.
Yeah.
She plays Kat Harvey in Casper, but parents, you may recognize her as Misty in the Yellow Jackets series.
Heard it's very good.
I've never even heard of it, so.
Oh, wow. It's supposed to be like Stranger Things for adults, even though Stranger Things is for adults, but like grown-ups. Like
I get
Stranger
it.
Things.
There's not children in it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Adult Samantha is played by Demi Moore. She is Esmeralda in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which we talked about in the past.
Yeah.
She plays Madison Lee, who is the villain in Charlie's Angel Full Throttle. The girls watched that recently after liking the first one so much. Mm-hmm. But parents, you may recognize her as Molly Jensen in Ghost. Such a good movie.
Fantastic.
And she plays Elizabeth in The Substance, which was just up for an Oscar.
She was nominated for Best Female Performance. She lost, though.
The Oscar she lost, but I think she got the Golden Globe and a couple others.
Oh, yeah. Critics' Choice or...
SAG or something?
SAG, probably, yeah.
Adult Roberta is played by Rosie O'Donnell, who we have talked about before. She is the voice of Turk in Tarzan, and she plays Betty Rubble in the live-action Flintstones movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, parents, you may recognize her as Doris Murphy in A League of Their Own. Young Teeny is played by Thora Birch. She's Danny. She will always just be Danny Dennison in Hocus Pocus. Yep. But otherwise, you might recognize her as Eva from Monkey Trouble. Or parents, I don't know. I think kids might be able to watch this movie. Yeah, she plays Empress Savina in the 2000s live-action Dungeons & Dragons, which is like a comedy.
Yeah. I remember watching it as a kid.
Yeah. Adult Chrissy is played by Rita Wilson, who I know I've seen her at least every December because she plays Liz Langston in Jingle All the Way, which is probably second favorite Christmas movie.
Second or third, yeah. For sure up there.
Then we have Scott Warmer, who is played by Devon Sawa. I think anybody in the 90s that was a girl probably had a crush on him.
I think most guys wanted to be him as well.
Yeah, he was just that cool dude.
He's a handsome dude.
He is. But he is Casper as a human in Casper. And he's Junior in Little Giants.
Yeah, Zosha and I watched Little Giants. She loved that movie. I love it still. Director of this movie is Leslie Linka Glatter.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. She only directed 2 movies, this and The Proposition, which was in 98, which is very much an adult movie. And then she's directed a lot of TV. Zero Day, which is a limited series on Netflix. She did Homeland. She did a few episodes of True Blood, House, ER, and Gilmore Girls.
The best show ever.
I know. I had to conclude that for you. But yeah, she's only done 2 movies. First impressions of this movie, Mommy, came out in October of 1995. Did you see this in theaters? How old were you the first time that you watched it? And do you remember liking it?
I did not see this in theaters. I would have been 3 when this came out, so no. The first time I watched this movie was when you showed me, so I don't know, how old was I when I met you? 21?
Around that?
Around 21 years old.
Okay.
And I liked it, because I remember you being like, hey, this is like the girl version of Stand By Me, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? So we watched this and Stand By Me within a couple days of each other to compare. And I liked it. It was good. I had no idea that all of these characters and actresses that I clearly know were all in a film together.
Yeah.
What about you? I assume you saw this as a kid.
Yes, I did not see it in theaters. My mom showed this to me, I want to say a year or so after it was out. So I was probably 7 years old, 6 or 7.
Okay.
And I remember liking it a ton. I remember liking it mostly because I had like a big crush on Christina Ricci at the time.
Oh, absolutely.
It's Wednesday Addams, It's Casper. Like, she released all these things around that time. So
Me too.
I loved Christina Ricci. But yeah, I remember liking it a lot. And then was this a first-time watch for the girls?
Yes, this is a first time for them, and they actually picked this movie. We did the same old thing where we show them like usually 3 or 4 trailers, and they kept going back to this one.
Yeah, I wanted a 90s movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, gave them a few options, this and Speed and some other stuff.
All right, Zosha, did we have a title drop?
No.
No, now and then.
It happens in the last song of the movie. It's like, now and then.
Is that Cyndi Lauper?
I don't think it's Cyndi Lauper.
I couldn't. It's had a voice similar to that, but yeah, it was a song I think obviously made for this movie.
Yes,
but I don't think that counts.
It does not count.
Doesn't
we did not
count.
look at Zosha, but it was one of those like, oh man, they do it now.
It doesn't count unless it's dialogue.
Yeah.
Amelia, did we have anything for the cat cam?
Yes. Sam's grandma does have a cat, and Chrissy has a cat.
Yeah, Chrissy had that white poofy one, and then poor Sam's grandma. I was like, what was up with that? The girls come over, and she like throws her cat out the front door. I was like, what? Just leave him in the house. It's okay.
Maybe he's a pain in the butt. I don't know.
I don't know, but I was like, no, kitty. So favorite scenes. I'm going to start with one of the girls. Zosha really likes when they're in the Mystic Reader shop. Like, she's like, it's very like,
okay.
Ooh, mystery.
The
and
tarot cards.
Yeah, and she really enjoys the mystery around Dear Johnny and the tarot card reading. It's, you know, she might really like Nancy Drew because she was into this part of the story.
Yeah, it's kind of a, we get into it later on, but it's a mystery movie at the same time as this coming of age film. So
yeah, it's a very interesting mix, but it engages kids.
Yeah, nice. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes was when these girls, they all live in the same neighborhood. I believe some of them are direct next door neighbors.
Yes.
But in the middle of the night, they decide they need a secret meeting. So one of them uses like a flashlight to flash on the other girl's window. And then the next one uses like a string with a bell to wake up the next girl. And then they use walkie-talkies for the next one. And I'm like, man, this would have been so cool. This is something that I envy. I never had a next door neighbor that was my best friend. And I just wish I had a group of friends that could do this.
I told you about this. We tried so hard because my best friends were my next door neighbors, but the way our houses were set up, our windows, just they weren't close enough for us to rig one of these.
You could have had walkie-talkies, though.
We could have done walkie-talkies for sure, but I feel like I don't know. They always died so fast.
Yeah. Is she listening right now? Is it under her pillow? Yeah, what's going on?
It could be in the basement for all we know. They weren't as reliable.
Yeah.
One of the things I really liked was towards the beginning of the movie, and it's the swing transition back into the past. So cool. Demi Moore, who plays Samantha, is on the swing underneath the treehouse that they used to hang out in. And they're just, swinging and talking, going back and forth. And she goes up into the sky. And then when it comes back down, it's her as a child.
Yeah.
And then we go back into the 70s, into the summer that they ended up making this pact. And I was just like, man, that was a solid transition, man. I loved it.
It was cool. One of the transitions for a person that I'm going to bring up right now is one of my favorite scenes. And it's when Scott Warmer, who we said is played by Devon Sawa, he basically admits that he's had a crush on Roberta this whole time. Like they have this, they're just at odds. Like these 4 girls.
They're in like a turf war.
Yeah, something like that. And these 4 brothers, these Warmer brothers, and they're just always like throwing water balloons and teasing and stuff. And Scott Warmer admits to Roberta, he's like, oh,
I think we fight all the time. Just something to do, I guess. Because, I was wondering. Because I think you're a really nice girl.
I always thought you hated me.
And it does get into a scene where he goes, would it be all right if I kiss you? Which is another cool thing because he asks before he does it. So it shows consent. And like today's day and age, that's very important. Not that it wasn't important then, but
it wasn't a thing like it is now.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it is cool that our girls got to witness that. And yeah, it just shows that there's more to him than meets the eye.
It's that tale as old as time thing that when they tell you when a boy's making fun of you, it's because he likes you. It's like, I have heard, as a girl, we've heard that our entire lives. And sometimes there is very much so truth to that.
Some facts
and
to that.
Other times, they're just rude.
Yeah.
Amelia's favorite scene was very simple, and it's anytime that they were playing Red Rover. She was like, oh, I remember doing that in Girl Scouts. That was fun. I was like, all right. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that. Red Rover's a good time.
They play it twice in the movie.
Yeah. So it's just fun. One of my favorite scenes is not the most appropriate, but gosh, is it hilarious. And I love when they see the boys. The Wormer boys are skinny dipping, and it's their first time seeing boys nude. And Chrissy makes the comment, like she's staring, and she goes, well,
It's not very big.
it is so funny. Like, it just lands so well. And then it goes into another awkward scene when they're trying to explain to her how that part on a boy works, and it's I love it. They can't even get through explaining it, which is just the true essence of being a 12-year-old girl. Like, I love it.
It is funny. That is a funny scene. Like we had said, they're kind of at odds with each other, and this is a scene that leads up to them stealing the boys' clothes and then running away, and
They're throwing their clothes at them while they're driving away on their bikes.
yeah, it's a funny scene. Very fun scene. So some positives now. The soundtrack for this movie is an absolute banger. It's all late 60s to early 70s music, which I thought was actually way earlier than the 60s. Some of these were things that I thought were like 50s maybe, and no, they did their homework and they made sure that this was accurate, and I appreciate that. Let's get our singing voices on right now, because some people might not know these songs we're going to bring up, but
Oh boy.
Stevie Wonder, Signed, Sealed, Delivered.
I'm yours. Yep.
Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Good song. Very good song. What was the next one?
Jackson 5, there's actually two by them. We've got I'll Be There, which is that just call my name. It's like, oh yeah, such a good one. And then I Want You Back.
Yep. Like, I probably did that way awful.
Yeah, I was
but-
going to say do 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 do. I mean, if you've seen Guardians,
Yes.
you know what it is.
There's a song by an artist called Badfinger, and it's No Matter What, and it goes like, no matter what you are, I will always be with you. Like,
Yeah, and I thought that was a much newer song. I didn't
No.
realize how old that
yeah.
song was.
I think it's because it has like electric guitars in it.
Yeah.
And everything else always has like a do 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 do, like a little.
I don't know what that is, but
that's another song that's in this. The sun goes up, the sun goes by, something like that. Hitching a ride.
oh
that song.
yes. And then they have the Archie Sugar Sugar.
Dun, dun, dun,
Aw,
dun,
honey,
dun.
honey. Yeah.
Very good.
I always thought the name of that song was "You Are My Candy Girl."
I mean,
makes sense.
I'm sure that if we asked the name of the electronic woman in our house to play that song, that she would play.
She would guess it right.
I think she would guess it right.
Yeah.
So you're not far off. And then like they have Nancy Sinatra. These boots were made for walking.
Such a good song.
Such a good song. I always automatically think of Austin Powers when I
Yes.
hear the song, but this is what
100%.
This is what I want my mind to picture first when I hear that song.
Yeah, I want to not think about Austin, but I loved that as a kid, though.
Man,
And then you grow up.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, banger soundtrack for this movie. I really like this soundtrack.
I think the girls appreciated it too because they have heard a lot of these songs just from our playlists and things that we've had. So
Yeah, when I looked up some reviews for this movie, people said that kids wouldn't really like it because of the style of it, the time that it's set in, and that the music they can't not necessarily relate to, but is something that they don't know. So because it's not Taylor Swift, basically, kids aren't going to like it. And I think that because
comes down to your parenting style, man.
absolutely does, because we play a wide array of music for our
Yeah.
girls, and we try to keep up with the times as well.
But some of it's just garbage.
some
So.
of it is garbage.
But we do. We like a lot of music that's older than we are. So
Yeah.
we like to introduce that to them because there's at least something good in every decade that you can find.
Absolutely.
Something I really enjoy is that Now and Then is very girl positive. When they're young and they're in that turf war with the Wormer boys, like it just, I like the back and forth. I like the very boys versus girls, and they're keeping up with each other. They're keeping each other on their toes. And then there's a part where they're all playing softball, and a boy tries to tell them that girls can't play softball, and Roberta just straight up knocks this dude out. And it's so funny. So they start scrapping with each other. And then Samantha goes and beats him up too because he ends up saying some very rude things to Roberta. And is violence the answer, kids? No. But at least it shows some good equality. As adults, they're all successful in different ways. Roberta grows up to be an OBGYN, so she's a doctor. Samantha is a science fiction writer. Teenie is an actress. And then Chrissy has a very happy marriage, and she's stable and starting a family. So I like that it shows that even though they went through all these woes, you know, girl power, man, they grew up to still be strong, independent women.
Absolutely. Like we said in the beginning of this movie, it's about how this summer kind of makes who they are for the rest of their lives kind of deal. Even though they're only 12, and a lot of people who are 12 don't have that outcome that they wanted when they were 12, they kind of go that route with this, and they're happy at least, and that's cool.
It's that summer that marks when they truly just weren't kids anymore.
Yeah.
Now we are becoming teenagers. We are making our way into adulthood, and it's significant.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then one of my last positives is that while this movie is about these girls and their friendship and how they grow up, viewers, I think, are going to be very excited because of the addition of the crime mystery that Zosha said she really likes. These girls are basically trying to solve this case that I don't want to give away too much because if you haven't seen it. But
when they were having one of their seances, the storm damages a headstone.
Yeah.
And they turn around. I don't know if it's a storm or something. They notice that one of the headstones is damaged, and it's for a 12-year-old boy named Johnny. So, of course, he's the same age that they are. So they take interest in it and go on this Nancy Drew type journey of what happened to Johnny, man.
Yeah, and it's kind of not shunned in the town, but people kind of keep it a secret.
They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It takes place throughout the entire film, and I think that is really cool because you're not just getting this coming of age story, you're getting this mystery as well.
As for the message of Now and Then, growing up is hard, but it certainly helps when you have strong friendships like these. We all go through different hardships, whether it be loss, divorce, poor parent communication, and more. But having someone to confide in and lean on during those hardships is everything. Samantha tried to take the burden of her parents' divorce alone, but she felt so much better when she told her friends what was going on. And then even after they all grow up and come back together for Chrissy giving birth, Sam continues to see the bright side of life when her true friends are near. I'm very lucky to have a friendship like this. You know, mine and my neighbors have been together since '98, and it's amazing the perspective and support that you can get just by simply being around someone who's been there for every stage of your life.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You know, I try.
Now, some negatives.
Yes, on the flip side, these are some different times for sure. These kids just being gone all day is wild on its own.
It really is, and they really are good to each other, and they have a strong bond, but it can be argued that for modern day, these girls are very bad influences. I have a couple here. So, sneaking out at night to go into a graveyard and do a seance.
Yeah. You should not be leaving your house after your parents think that you're in bed. Like, very dangerous.
Yes, this is like borderline ET stuff going on.
Yes.
Was ET 70s?
80s.
Okay, so yeah, those 80s parents and 70s parents, obviously. Talking to and accepting cigarettes from a complete stranger.
Yes, Chrissy calls him a hippie, and he just came back from the war, and they're like riding their bikes and come across him, and they're like, hey, let's just talk to this random guy.
Yeah, and granted, it's Brendan Fraser, so he's super handsome.
Yeah,
but,
and you know, even us, we're like, oh man, I think I would stop to talk to him, but
I'm not taking cigarettes.
I'm not taking cigarettes,
yes,
but
Chrissy does not take a cigarette from him, but
No.
the rest of the girls do, and you know, our girls are watching this, and I think our girls know better.
Oh yeah, Zosha was like, they're crazy.
Oh yeah, she did. She did vocally
Yeah.
like
She's
say
like,
that
what
out
are they
loud.
doing?
They're kids, yeah. So good. It's all about your parenting.
We're not doing bad, all right?
No. And then riding bikes a town over.
I think it's like a 10-mile thing. I remember seeing one of the signs. It said
Oh.
like Greenville or whatever, the town that they were, started with a G, and it had a 9 on the
Okay.
sign. And I'm like, dude, they're riding their bikes 9 miles in the, like, what?
Yes. Granted, they were going just to a library or a town hall because they were doing this they were looking up stuff for this mystery of trying to find out stuff about this Dear Johnny kid. But still, they don't tell their parents.
Yeah, and that goes back to what you said. They're not bad kids. They're not doing bad things.
Yes.
We're just doing very unsafe things.
Yes.
Like,
by today's standards.
by today's standards, because you're very lucky that that stranger walking down the street just happened to be some cool guy that was like, all right, I'll talk to these kids for a couple minutes and then go on my way.
Yeah.
He could have been a creep.
Absolutely.
You don't know.
A stranger danger.
100%. So red flags, people, red flags.
Yes. So it could be conversations that you have with your kids when you're watching this.
And then, I don't know, this might still fall under that blanket of them being not so great influences, but I'm not a fan of Roberta trying to fake her own death either. I don't want our kids thinking that it's okay to joke about anything remotely close to that. And don't get me wrong, I understand why Roberta's background has her with this weird relationship with death, but still, Chrissy's response to all of that is valid. Like, she straight up punches her friend in the face for pretending that she drowned. And she's like, don't you ever do that to me again. Don't you ever scare me like that. And I think she's 100% right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta give your friend a love tap. Wake him up. You don't know.
Absolutely. And then Roberta also says, like, oh man, that was a killer right hook.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So friends will forgive you.
They will. It's almost like, you know what? Thanks for that. I needed that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a wake up call.
My last negative of this movie is the adult version of these characters, I think, are boring for kids. They talk about where they are in life and discuss their personality traits and what makes them them. So it's more talking and less entertainment like they are when they're 12 years old. So I think for kids, especially our girls, I mean, I guess we'll find out, but for our girls and for any kids in general, I think that it can be kind of boring to watch that part.
Yeah, because there's one part where I know they're going over how many husbands Teeny had and things like that. And it's like, yeah, obviously kids...
What do they care?
Yeah, they don't care. We're not even at the point of thinking about marriage yet. The last thing I want to mention is that roasting is very common amongst friends once you enter the teen years and adult times, but for our kids, it just flat out looks like they're being mean to their best friends. So that scene where Samantha and Teeny are giggling about Chrissy being able to feed more people because she's heavier. And then even Roberta comments on Chrissy's weight at one point. And it's like, I get it. We do that all the time, poke fun at each other. But little kids, they don't do this yet. It's very black and white at that stage still. So they might take that as a, why are they being mean to their friend? I thought they were all cool with each other.
Yeah, that could be a negative for sure.
Yeah.
And what kind of negatives or positives come with parental guidance, Mommy?
So language is mild to moderate, and it's going to depend a lot on your parenting style. There are no F-bombs, but there's a lot of name calling and definitely some sexual references. Violence, there are a couple fist fights and punches amongst kids. A woman goes into labor and is screaming, and then Roberta discovers how her mom passed away, and the details of her accident are pretty violent. Scary, the graveyard scene scared our girls because, one, it's creepy, but two, because of the lightning strikes and the impending storm. There are a couple different parts where it just downpours, and it's scary. It's that sideways rain, man. And especially when Samantha finds herself trapped in a storm drain, it scares you. Even as an adult, I was like, don't you do that. What are you doing? Stop. I've never lived anywhere that there's been a storm drain that you could climb into, though. I think you did, though, in the city, right?
No, not there, but I've seen them.
Yeah.
Like now for work, I've seen them.
Okay, yeah, that I was like, ooh, The mystery surrounding Dear Johnny's death can also be a little bit frightening once more details about that come out. Grown-up stuff, there is so much in this movie, but I think it's all done in a great way for preteens. So divorce is introduced, and it's a brand new thing for this time period. And we mentioned that she's scared to tell her friends that her dad is gone. One of the girls lost her mom when she was 4, and it has caused her to have a why her, why me meltdown, where she becomes destructive and breaks a mirror and basically just full-blown freaks out in front of her friends. There is some alcohol use, but it's all very casual and social. There's quite a bit of smoking shown, but again, I think it's a time period thing. Otherwise, it's mostly sexual references. One girl stuffs her bra because she can't wait to develop, while another one tries to tape her chest down. The woes of puberty, am I right? The girls go through a Cosmo magazine quiz, too, that's clearly meant for women and not 12-year-olds, but it's just funny having them do it. And then they discuss male body parts, what sex is, and other random grown-up things that, again, depending on what type of household you are, you might not want these types of conversations around your little one's ears. Lastly, cry factor. Nothing made us cry outright, but I'd say that there are definitely some tender moments.
And as for an age recommendation, you know your kids better than we do. We're just here to give our opinions. You would think that with the young girls in this movie being somewhat bad influences, I would automatically put it into that 13 years old for this PG-13 movie. But I think those can still be teaching moments for us parents. Same with the awkward mother-daughter conversation about the birds and the bees that happens. It's still a teachable moment. I believe a lot of the grown-up stuff will still go over kids' heads. They'll mainly be watching it for the fun friendship of these girls. But I think our girls enjoyed this. I could be wrong. We'll find out in a moment. But I think I'm going to put this right about 9 or 10 age group. 13 probably would be better, but 9 or 10 I think is fine.
And I would agree with that. Amelia, I think, might be too young for this movie, but Zosha's right on, sadly, she is right on the cusp of being in this age group, because next year she'll be going to a school that has 12-year-olds in the building. So
yeah,
it's only a matter of time.
So Rotten Tomato critics have this movie at a 33%, which is a thumbs down.
Yikes.
Audiences have it way higher at an 82%, which is a thumbs up. Big difference there.
It's a huge difference.
Let's see how this holds up in our house. Zosha, do you give Now and Then a thumbs up, a thumbs middle, or a thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Why thumbs up?
Because I really like the story.
Okay, yeah, you like that mystery you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Amelia, what do you give this movie?
Thumbs middle because some of the parts were a little bit inappropriate.
Inappropriate, yeah, I understand that. But did you have like fun watching this movie?
Yeah.
Would you watch it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Mommy, what do you give this movie?
I'm going to give this movie a thumbs middle as well. I liked it. I will rewatch it and probably in a couple years, maybe when Yaga gets a little bit closer to this age group.
Okay.
But I liked it. I like, again, the combination of the mystery with these girls growing up and learning about their friendship. The soundtrack alone is worth a rewatch of it. But is it the greatest movie? No.
Okay.
But it's definitely, I don't think it's a thumbs down movie.
Okay.
What about you, Daddy?
I compared this, like you had said, to Stand By Me. I think this is the girl version of Stand By Me. I would give Stand By Me a thumbs up, so I'm giving this movie a thumbs up. I love this movie. I love the acting. I love the story. It's an hour and 36 minutes. It's a fast movie. It pretty much is very entertaining. The pacing is good. Like, I like this movie a lot. I could rewatch this movie over and over, I think, and still find something that I like more every time I watch it.
It's definitely not boring. I don't think there's any parts, at least as an adult viewer watching it, that I was like, oh man, come on. I liked it.
Yeah.
And at least with this movie versus Stand By Me, all of their futures are much brighter compared to the poor ending of the boy version.
Yes. And if any of you would like to add Now and Then to your movie night list, it is currently available to rent or buy across platforms.
And after watching, let us know if you give it thumbs up, thumbs middle, or thumbs down.
And when you want to let us know what you think about the movie, please find us on social media. We like to post pictures of us on our movie nights, letting you know what snacks and sweets we're eating. It's a fun place to hang out.
Our Facebook is It's Movie Night, and our Instagram is It's Movie Night Pod. Thank you for listening. Join us next week for another movie night. Bye.